Welcome to Security Insights with Arvind Helen, your bi-weekly deep dive into security strategies, innovations in the security business. I'm your host, Arvind Helen, and today we're going to discuss the fundamental question about whether security systems are an expense or as an investment. We are going to go beyond the sales pitch today and discuss the real world consequences of being protected versus not. We'll use the concrete examples of real life and discuss the BC stats and break down what actually happens during the break-in and after, how the authorities respond, and how we deal with the insurances. So whether you're a security business owner, security professional, or someone with a keen eye on the security, this episode is for you. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, this is Suche. We are in another chapter with Arvind, and in this episode we're going to real life examples, sharing some stats and giving some more examples to give better understanding in the security systems, why it is an investment for companies, businesses, as well as homeowners. Arvind, let's start with the big picture. For our listeners in BC, how prevalent are property crimes like break-ins, enters? Can you share some recent stats that highlight the need for our discussion, as well as your experience in covered security?
Yes, the crime is on the rise, especially in last 2 years. We've seen it in our business that a lot of our customers are facing the break and enters, and it's increasing. I got some stats here from Burnaby in a local area where we are located. According to our CMP in 2025 Q1, they had 212 incidents of breaking and entering, and out of those, the commercial break-ins were 142 of them. And on top of that, there was 766 incidents of shoplifting, which is way higher than I think in 2024. And then if we're moving on, just in our BC province, there were just shy of 20,000 incidents of breaking and entering. And out of those, 2,599 were reported clear.
How was your experience with your clients? Did you hear more break-ins through businesses? I know you have like residential and as well as business areas, but which one was the most complaints that you get, incidents you saw? Is it shoplifting or break-ins or something else?
I feel like commercial shoplifting and breaking in is quite a bit on the rise rather than the residential ones. Yes, you do get an occasional residential where they broke into the house, but normally it's always breaking into the car or something got stolen. We had a couple of incidents actually in our residential clients where they try to scare them with by throwing a light bomb at them or try to burn the place. But when the investigation happened, it was declared as a missed identity.
Oh,
So those kind of crimes are on the rise for sure.
I guess it's very affected with the recent events in Canada as well. There's so many changes happening, as well as inflation and all that, and the increase in the expenses of the life for many people. That's the reason I guess shoplifting increased way too much than before.
So economic downturn, definitely that's one of the first thing that happens when people can't afford their day-to-day life. Then the hardworking people that lost their job, then they have no choice. As I'm involved in some food banks, and the numbers have risen quite a bit. I would say over 300% in last past COVID, so about in last 3 years.
The people coming to the food banks
To the food bank, yeah.
Okay, and they are usually non-workers, I guess, the unemployers.
They are so one of the food bank there's a lot of students that come there
Hmm.
because the students are only allowed to work 20 hours a week, and then they basically it's just not enough work for them, and then they are also not enough, they're not getting paid enough. The rental is so expensive, and then there's new immigrants that also come there as well, and then single moms.
Yeah, cost of living increased way too much in the recent years, specifically in BC. It's less affordable now.
I don't think it's just specifically to BC, but throughout Canada. Actually, I think overall, all the world is facing the economic downturn after COVID. The inflation is rising. Governments printed the money to help out everyone throughout the COVID, um, and then we're just facing those challenges now.
Let's get into the examples. A residential nightmare scenario for no system versus basic system. So let's paint a picture for our listeners. A family in Surrey or Langley comes to home to find their house has broken into. They have no security system at all. Walk us through what happens next, minute by minute, the whole process when they find out to the very last.
Hmm. Well, the first thing is when people come home, they have no security system, they freak out. They don't know what to do. So most likely, you know, or eventually they'll do a walkthrough of the house, call the cops, or write down the report, and then depending upon uh, which jurisdiction they belong to, the cops might come over and assess the situation, or if they're really busy, then that might not even happen. I've heard of cases where the police have just said, like, you can do the report online, or you can come down to our station and give us
They don't even attend.
they don't have the time or the mm, resources to attend, right?
Oh, so the response time is like, let's touch to that response time a little.
So the
now.
response time is, if you have a security system and it's monitored, um, then the chances of police coming within few minutes is very, very high. There's no guarantee to it. If there's a, you know, uh, murder happen
Oh,
that
depend
night,
on the
or
situation.
depends on the situation, that's uh, it gets put back on the burner. Now, if let's say another scenario where people are home and then someone broke into, and then we call the cops, the chances are 99% the police are going to show up very quick.
But in this scenario with no system, they
Yeah.
just maybe even move. They just bought because there's so many multi-family homes going on over there. And if there's a new homeowner with no system over there, they just panic. They call the police, and then no response.
There. If you don't have any security system right now in this day and age, you're out of luck. Unfortunately, police don't have the resources. There's just a lot of crime happening everywhere. We talked earlier, it's on the rise. They simply won't do anything. They will take your report down, and then wish you good luck.
Gosh. So there is like, okay, that's a huge other part with not having any security system.
Yeah.
They broke into, they did report or whatever. Okay, now they're sitting in their home. The reporting is done, and it's not done for them. For the police, for everywhere in the world, the situation is done and finished. But there is a huge emotional and psychological effect in the situation for these people.
Definitely, there is, but unfortunately, people don't think about the security system till they get broken into. So once they get broken into, then we get called out, and people want to put bars on the windows. They want to go way above what they actually need to, right? Because now
They're scared.
they're scared. They felt the pressure, but up till that point, nobody wants to invest into a security system. In this day and age, I'm not saying just because I'm in the business. I think everybody should have some sort of a security system built into place. I can give you one perfect example is, let's say you have a security system in place. you're out for the night, you come home, your window's broken. You know exactly when that happened, whether that happened an hour ago or 5 minutes ago, or the intruder might still be inside your house. So you can at least take some precautions getting in, right? So psychologically, it's a little bit of a, you can deal with it in that situation a little bit better. But if you have nothing to go with, then you're out of luck, basically.
Yeah, that's our perfect second part. Let's stay there and let's rewind the same scenario that the first question that we got, but this time for a home that had a basic security system. So let's say, as you mentioned, like window broke now. So let's say they have door window sensors, there is an alarm, and there's maybe a couple cameras, like very basic system. What would be that basic system, and how the same scenario, minute by minute, would be different in this scenario for this homeowner or tenant over there?
Okay. So even if they have a basic security system, uh, it will change your results tremendously. First thing is, if the alarm was monitored, you would have already known by the monitoring station, got a call saying you have you got a break in at your place. So right away you're alerted.
Yeah, but not everyone has the monitoring. Let's say these people have only the basic system. They just installed it, they have alarm.
So if they don't have a monitoring system, so the siren and when they show up, most likely either the siren was going off, the neighbors were alerted, or as soon as they go inside, they can see it on their keypad that the alarm went off and what zone it tripped, right?
So there's a keypad, window and door alarms, as well as what is the basic system they would have usually.
So usually it's a door and window sensors, and then a couple of motion sensors inside the house, and then the keypad by the door that says what zone was affected. So then you can take a look whether there was a basement window or there was upstairs. At least you'll have some sort of idea where the intruder came in from, right?
So how would be the situation for them? These people came and they found out that it was broken into.
I find those people, if they have some sort of a security system, they're much more calmer because at least they have some sort of idea that the intruder came in through the basement door, and they'll look around in the basement. If there's nothing significantly missing, then they go on. At that time, will most likely get a call about that they want to put a monitoring system in there, and the situation changes if they have cameras in place. They can go back and review the footage. So once they do that, people feel a little bit more
in control, maybe
at ease a little bit, that they saw intruder come in, they saw intruder leaving the place, even though most likely they were covering their face, so you can't really find them, but it does give you a little bit of a peace of mind.
So do they call the police? They do have everything. How the police response goes for them?
So now this is another one of those. It depends on a situation and on which city you live in. But as soon as you do say that you have a camera footage, the police is willing to come visit you and see the footage themselves. Okay. So it does change the situation.
What did you mean by depending on the city?
So every city is different. Like, for example, if we were to take a city of Surrey, they just don't have enough manpower. Okay. So your process will be delayed. It could be delayed by hours. It could be delayed by days. Eventually, I'm sure someone will attend to you, but you definitely won't be on a priority, right?
I see. Break-ins are not the major things for them to attend to, I guess.
Right now, seems like that's how the authorities are dealing with it. Unless it's someone's life is in danger, break-in is getting put on the back burner now.
Okay, we already mentioned a little bit about live video monitoring if it was in place, but let's kind of rewind a little bit more to have the full situation, full scenario. So what if they have live video monitoring system in place instead of there is just siren, there is just like basic alarm and they just find out when they get it. So there is a professional monitoring station, sees the breach in real time. Then how that happens? when actually like they're out or in, let's say two scenarios, versus there is one actually they're inside the house and versus they are out of the place.
Um, so there's again, it depends on a different situation, but in one example, if they already have a monitoring system, they have a live video monitoring in there, the situation or the outcome is going to be tremendously different. One example that from one of our clients is they had someone jump over their fence into their backyard. Our live monitoring station, they they know about the guy before the guy even entered the house. So as soon as he jumped into the backyard, we were already on the way to tell the customer about it, right? So the customer was inside the house upstairs, so they knew that something was happening. Yes, in this case, the intruder did break into the basement window, but if we didn't have that video monitoring, then by the time he broke the window and got inside, that's when the alarm would have tripped. So they did have, primary protection and then the secondary protection. But in this case, within, I'll say in about 3 minutes, customer was already notified. They knew that someone's entering their basement window. Yes, we couldn't, video monitoring didn't stop the intruder to come in or to break the window, but at least the people were safe in the house, right? So then in that case, right away, the customer advised us to call the cops. We called the cops. I think within few seconds, the cops were on site.
Because the response time when a monitoring station call is like
It's increased.
priority.
It's a priority, especially once we can determine that there's people in the house. Then it changes the scenario. So then you're put on a first priority.
Oh, I see. But you say that so the live video monitoring station did not stop, couldn't stop. So there is a siren, there is lights, and there is a speaker.
So usually in a residential area, because of the neighbors, and we don't really use the sirens or strobe lights in that sense. And also, like the houses have, four corners, so you can't really cover everything, right? So in a residential, usually it's a silent alarm, basically. So nobody knows that we got an alarm in place. It's just we take a action in the background.
But what if it was commercial? It will be for sirens, speakers.
Yeah. So in a commercial, we already know usually by their main entrance door will always have a speaker that, or in the parking lot, that our monitoring station can talk to the intruder. And so in that case, it's a little different. You 99% of the time, once they hear this, the intruder hear that we caught them, they usually go away.
They're usually also caught on site, right? When it's live video
Caught
monitoring.
on the site. Yeah.
Okay. How about the false alarms part? Because when there is no live video monitoring, can be any kind of alarm, and there's no one watching. So homeowners is outside, they cannot specify what kind of alarm. So if they are outside and they're calling police, but they cannot confirm what kind of an alarm and why that happened.
So in a security systems, most of the alarms in a residential is a false alarm. That's why authorities have put this on a back burner now, because back in the day when they used to report, like almost 90% of those would be false alarm. So over the years, the monitoring stations are getting trained better. They don't respond if there's only a motion sensor going off. You have to hit another sensor. So there's different approaches every monitoring station is taking, but definitely now we're encouraging our customers to take on another layer of the video monitoring going. And also it's becoming more popular with the AI analytics. The false alarm in the cameras have also come down quite a bit. But
so for big, or let's say, or residential and commercial, live video monitoring is the main game changer when it's come to protection.
Especially in a commercial, I think it's we're seeing a lot of different results now. When we cover the commercial plazas, Now the tenants don't have to worry about their insurance. Otherwise, someone comes in, break in the window, but they never actually got inside the store, but now you still have a loss, right? Someone come in, break in the window, you still have to get it changed, right? And then when you come to the work in the morning, then it just takes a toll on you if it's keep happening, right? So now by having the video monitoring, it's reducing that tremendously.
We should definitely give that as a suggestion for residentials. I mean, commercials for sure.
Residential, we are getting it is getting popular, as well as there's more theft, there's more shootings happening in the neighborhoods now. That's the other thing we have to deal with. Uh, so it is catching up on it, but definitely in the commercial, it's a game changer for people.
So after the dust settles, the insurance claim process begins. How does having a security system and particularly video evidence impact that process?
Hmm. So if you don't have any camera footage or any security system, uh, it will be very tough to prove what's been stolen. I'm sure insurance companies will give you something about it, but definitely won't be actual value of whatever that was missing. Let's say you do have a security system, then you do get actually an insurance rebate about 10% on your house insurance. And if you have a fire monitor system, which is monitoring your sprinkler alarms, smoke detector and a sprinkler alarm, then you'll get additional 5% on your
So
house
overall,
insurance.
if you have full monitored system as well as the specific environmental security part of it, there's about like 15% premium
You can
discount.
get up to 15% discount on
With,
your
if
house.
there's an insurance someone purchased with like no security system in place, they just need to
They
pay the
need to pay the
highest.
full. They're automatically on a higher risk, right? So once you have a monitoring system, then it de-risk them a little bit. So that's one. And second is every time you buy something, you should keep the receipts of the big item so it's easier for you to prove. And then also, I've seen where we saw a van come into the customer's place. It wasn't monitored, but they had a camera system in there. They had an alarm system in there. They simply came into their driveway. They packed up basically the all the appliances out of the house
Gosh,
and got away, right? So in that case, the insurance company did pay the customer because they had actual footage of someone coming into their
they
place
could
and doing
prove
it,
it
right?
for sure.
But if they had the monitoring system in there, then they wouldn't have to deal with that, right?
Oh, no one would have the time to steal it already if they get into
Yeah.
in the parking.
Well, if someone really they wanted to get it, they would have gotten in, but they would have get it intercepted. Instead of taking the whole house appliances, they might have only taken a toaster or an oven or something,
Yeah,
right?
there
And
will be
got away.
police right away. Absolutely.
So it's a different, and then and again now the insurance is not that cheap anymore. So the
Mm.
insurance companies the deductibles are getting higher. So those are some things people need to start thinking about.
For residential, in any residential space, it's not that high value items, I guess. I mean, rather than the appliances, as you say. But if you're switching to more like commercial right now, in let's say an example, let's go from that. So let's say a retail store in Vancouver or maybe like a large warehouse in like Delta part or something. The stakes are often higher because the volume of the items are quite high. So walk us through to a breaking in one of this type of like retail in Vancouver or a warehouse in Delta, and how that works for them. How does it go through for them? That's kind of a break-in. For security systems in place versus no system in place.
Uh, so most of the commercial places, I think they have some sort of a security system in place. It's just the vulnerabilities are sometimes have been overlooked. Like I personally been to one warehouse. just installed motion sensors inside the place, but they didn't put any sensors on the doors. So that was kind of like countereffective. Yes, by the time someone broke into the store, yes, they would be caught, but till if it took them half an hour to break the door open or whatever, they were there, right? It's not only the financial loss; it's your employees' well-being as well that you have to
Mhm.
worry about. Then usually the manager shows up with the keys the next morning, and that's when they find out that they've been robbed, and now they had deliveries to make to customers or promises that they
It's a
wanted to
full
keep.
business interruption in that
It's an
scenario.
interruption,
It's
right?
not just what they lost, also the whole business
Yeah,
interrupted.
so it's not only a financial loss; it's the morale loss. People are nervous to go to workplace now, right? So, I think it's the security systems are not only you know keeping the financing in place; it's also a peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But so let's get in a little bit more detail that part of that. So we say that the situation occur and there's modern systems with camera and access control. You mentioned about the doors. So that part we are getting to access control, I believe. So can we talk about that detection? Like when the situation happened, the next day they come in and they realize, but if there is a whole access control and camera system in place, they are already notified while this happening. And how is that situation for them? Because they don't if it's old systems, maybe it's different, but if it's in the neve modern system, they don't find out the next day or whenever they go and open the
No,
door.
no. So now because you were notified the day before, then obviously someone would have attended the site when the alarm went off. If they couldn't attend it, we probably most likely send a security guard, or someone would have attended the site before you were the one that have to go deal with it, right? So it kind of gives you a little bit of a peace of mind that where my workplace is already secured. Yes, the financial loss happened, the theft happened, the headache will still be there, but at least you have a peace of mind knowing that there's nobody's gonna be there to attack you, right?
That's a higher risk of not the breaking part, I mean, right?
Breaking apart, and plus when you already, you got the call 4, 5, 10 hours ago, your stress level has come down a little bit as well.
Until the next day, it's already situation is resolved, come to a point.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last part of that we mentioned about residential insurance and recovery, how that goes for commercial clients, the insurance requirements, how are the recovery processes on that?
So if you're a retail store that you're always come uh, always get broken into, the insurance company will actually mandate that you put a better system in place, right? So if you decide to do that, or if you don't do that, they will raise your deductible, they will raise your rates, and then you're basically in a higher risk category. Now, one, you're having a financial loss because of the theft. Second, now your expenses have gone up because now your insurance is higher, right? So
They have to replace the whole system
they
or
have to replace
update.
the whole system, they have to make that investment, and then it takes 3, 4, 5 years before your rates will start to come down, because you have to build up that history with your insurance provider, right?
Versus if there is this commercial client that has the modern system with not high insurance cost, for them, how is the effect of the recovery when it's a financial loss?
So the insurance companies are mandating that some, like especially the construction sites now, the insurance companies are saying you have to go to a UL provider that that has certifications, and they can do the monitoring job for them. Now in that case, yes, instead of hiring a security guard for 24/7 or even for 12 hours at nighttime, uh, people are opting out for camera video monitoring because that's more cost effective. And I think on some sites it's actually better because the security guard can be only on one side of the property. If you're um, if you're on a large construction site, AI cameras are working 24/7 for you, right?
For construction sites, the story is quite different than the residential and commercial.
Yeah.
And for that scenario, I guess there is no option, but they have to be still if there is like one security guard. So now it goes to, I believe, in that part, versus having like 10 security guards, and now having actually live video monitoring solution with AI cameras.
Yeah.
We touch on the police responses times through our conversation, but we always talk about client perspective. Now, from the police department's perspective, we often hear police are stretched thin and it's always limited. Especially you are mentioning in Surrey and other parts, it is so like limited resources and it's hard for them to attend and go through the whole thing. So how does security system actually help our local police forces here in BC?
So if you have a camera surveillance or just a cameras installed around your property, whether that's residential or commercial, it helps the authorities and the police department tremendously. Now they can come in and take a footage out of you. They can go to the neighbor's place or they can go to a convenience store, gather all that investigation hours. So basically, they get leads from one place to the other. If you don't have anything, your neighbors don't have anything, then they don't know where to start the investigation or where to end the investigation, right? So there's been, so as the technology is evolving, people are getting more tech savvy, more people have cameras in their place. It's definitely helping them out. And also, there's softwares out there now. If police were to gather, let's say, 2,000 hours of uh, footage from different places, they can put it in the software. It can probably do the same job in about half an hour, 20 minutes, right? So there's technology advances that are happening in the background. Then it's helping out police and saving them a lot of man hours, right?
It's quite a bit of a time saving for the authorities part. But as well as rather than time saving, we also have a good footage, good proof, actually resolve it to find the people and all. Because if there is no nothing, they can't find anyone, no crime resolved, no people caught at all.
Yeah, people, even the, it's still very hard for our court systems to go through all the, we like to call it petty crime here, but sometimes it's not petty crime, but and the courts are so busy. And so the cops can do their job. They can find the person, they can put it on a charge, but then the court system is so delayed that they get off on a bail so easily. Right. So our laws have also to be stricter as the population grows, as the criminal minds are getting sophisticated. All those things have to involve, right?
Yeah, true. Also, government is supporting this, correct? Because they have for specifically small businesses that cannot yet afford all these new systems yet, they are providing some kind of packages, some kind of programs for them to actually secure and reduce all this headache, all these problems already will happen in future for them.
Yes, so finally the government is realizing that we have this serious problem, and where they're tracking down, hey, the police is just wasting the hours visiting the places and doing this break and enter, minor break and enters, I should say, right? So there was a grant, I believe it ended last year, that BC government was giving $1,500 if you installed a new security system at your small commercial retail store, then you would get a $1,500 government grant, right?
1,500?
$1,500, yeah. So that tells me that the government is trying to be a little bit more proactive and they realize that there's a need of that, right?
It will be definitely helping to the authorities from the government, but they will also reduce the cost by helping the small businesses to avoiding all these situations to breakings and reducing the whole crime overall.
Right.
So finally, Arvind, we covered residential, commercial scenarios with no system versus basic system versus a whole system that we have in full technology in our place that what we can, to small or versus big other kind of commercials. And we touch base all with the police authorities, response times, and some packages. Is there anything in place, by the way, that our audience should know from government? Any other support going on right now?
Right now, there's no more rebates available, as you know the economy is on a downturn. So unfortunately, it got cut out of the BC budget. But I'm sure in the future there will be some grants coming, as there's a pressure building up from small businesses and bigger businesses, and uh, also from a police department. Police department wants every place to have cameras or security systems so they don't waste their hours, right?
A lot easier for them.
A lot easier for them, yeah.
Okay, then we are in the final of our episode. I think we got covered everything. So, what one piece advice you would give to someone in BC who is on the fence of about investing to security systems further? Maybe they already have the basic system, but it's not working as before, and they're looking for their home or maybe some commercial spaces. What's the core takeaway that you could tell for them?
I would suggest that everybody should have a security system in place now. This day and age, you cannot live without it. And second is, I urge all our customers, all the viewers, that they should start using it. I find that yes, we can install the system for them, but if they are not using it, they're not turning it on, or they're not, maintaining it, then that kind of defeats the purpose as well. So it's very important that, doesn't matter whichever company installed it for you, you're in touch with them at least every year. They come in, inspect your system, and also you can test the system yourself as well. So if you're a homeowner or a small business owner, you should be doing the test every year, every 6 months, right? It's becoming a part of your life now.
True. Well, thank you, Arvind, for breaking down the true value of a security system in such clear, real-world terms. It is clear this is not just about gadgets. It's about peace of mind, financial protection, and being proactive part for your own safety. Don't wait till something really bad happens. That actually take the action and be precautious before anything happens.
Well, folks, here's another episode of Security Insights with Arvind Dhillon, where we discussed whether security systems is an investment or an expense. I hope you all found some relative information out of this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, please send us your questions, or you can connect with me on our LinkedIn or Instagram. My ID is Arvind Dhillon, and hope to see you in the next episode. Please connect with me via LinkedIn or Instagram. My password.